Hi there, Brian Sellers here, and I've made this video today specifically for those of you out there who would like this year to be your breakthrough year in the world of investing and asset accumulation to the tune of making 5 figures per month in totally passive automated income. The year you make more money from your investment portfolio than you do from your business so you can quit and retire if you want. Or if you like what you do, add an additional income stream that will minimally match the income your business is already producing on total autopilot. So if that's you, please stop what you're doing right now and pay very close attention, because over the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to show you how to do exactly that. Now, if you're not familiar with me, I'm the founder of Axiom Strategic Capital, where we help small business owners, coaches, consultants, agency owners, and independent investors who are struggling to create truly passive income streams develop a highly liquid and totally automated 5 figure monthly profit stream by leveraging our proprietary AI-based technology. Our breakthrough technology allows anyone, regardless of their prior investing experience or their busy schedule, to safely begin generating daily passive income without giving up control of their capital, and ultimately results in real financial freedom and time freedom in their lives. Now, if you're anything like most of my clients, you're busy. You've got a business to run, clients and customers to support, a family to manage, and you don't have time to sit through the typical 90-minute webinar that really could have been summed up in about 30 minutes. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to spare you the part about how I struggled in the markets for years until I developed a breakthrough strategy and generated $4,900 in profit in a single day, how I went on to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars into software development, artificial intelligence, consultants, and data scientists to create a truly revolutionary solution, and how this purely passive investment solution has now allowed me to live a dream lifestyle, finance a film, and most importantly, help my clients generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit on autopilot by leveraging this proven and proprietary solution. Rather than spend 30 minutes sharing my elaborate story of trials and triumphs, let me get to the bottom line with you right now. The fact is, we are the absolute best at what we do, and I can provide you with tons of case studies and references later on to prove that if you'd like. But for right now, I want to cut to the chase and tell you why I truly believe you've stumbled across the greatest investment opportunity you'll ever come by in your lifetime, if you're looking for a safe, reliable, and consistent passive income. And I do mean passive, not I still have to check in with tenants, or I only have to put in a little effort, but I get a big reward. I mean purely still actively building my business, so I literally don't have any extra time to do anything else at all, passive. Now, the greatest investment opportunity you'll ever come by in your lifetime, that's a bold statement, I know. But stay with me here, because I'm going to prove to you that our technology is quite literally the fastest, easiest, and safest way I've ever personally seen for the average small business owner, coach, consultant, or independent investor to be able to create an additional income stream that can minimally match the current income they're making from their business. And I want you to really think about that. What would it mean for your life and your family if you could double your household income? And this also is the fastest and easiest way I've ever seen for a 6 or 7 figure small business owner to be able to create a 7-figure recurring income in the next 5 to 10 years. And what makes this so special is that our technology allows anyone to create these kinds of results without interrupting their current lifestyle. We're not talking about starting another business or real estate investing that still comes with a fair share of headaches. We're talking about you keep doing what you're doing and checks show up in spite of you, not because of you kind of income. And I think the most important aspect of this entire presentation is that we're able to accomplish all of this without immersing your capital in massive risk. Now, obviously, we're not talking about the security of a bank CD here. And quite honestly, if that's what you're after, you're going to have to be satisfied with the 0.5% yield that comes with it. But if you're willing to be slightly more aggressive, this is going to be the fastest, easiest, and safest way to get you to exponential gains while putting an emphasis on capital preservation. Now, make sure you're paying close attention here, because I need to explain exactly what makes what we do so different from anything else you've seen out there before. I find it almost comical when I talk to the typical investor who's got a mom and pop financial advisor, and they tell me they've got a guy who handles their finances. I'm not going to disparage anyone, but let me just say, if he or she didn't have you profiting during the '08 crash, isn't talking to you about precious metals or crypto, and can't get you at least 50% annual gains, do yourself a favor and pay extra close attention here, because I'm about to explain the trillion-dollar idea that separates us from your local advisor pushing cut and paste investment plans. And here's why this is so important. Because if you miss what I'm about to lay out for you here, nothing else in this video is going to matter. And ultimately, you're not going to see the value in what we do. But if you pay extra close attention and lock in here for the next 5 minutes, you're going to understand exactly why our clients who don't have any special investment skills or market expertise are generating $1,000 or even $2,000 in a single day without distracting or interrupting anything else they've currently got going on. And you'll understand why you, or anyone for that matter, can put themselves in the exact same position. So I hope I've got your full attention here. And if so, let's go ahead and dive in. When it comes to the financial markets, you've got to understand that there are just two sides to the market. First, you've got the retail side, which consists of the typical mom and pop small business owners and corporate America professionals who are getting their investment advice from the Jim Cramer and Susie Ormans of the world. The retail side of the market typically doesn't have any investment expertise. And in fact, they've been duped into believing that as long as they buy and hold for the long term, everything is going to work out fine. Their entire investment strategy for the future, their retirement, and the well-being of their family is based on the idea that the financial markets always go up. And then there are the real players, the investment banks, the hedge funds, pensions, and private equity funds, the Wall Street firms that manage billions of dollars and leverage their financial positions to recruit the brightest minds, develop the most sophisticated technology, and swoon the most influential political personnel. The side of the market that's in the know, before the media picks up the story. They play by a different set of rules they write, and they make money regardless of what the market's doing. We call this side of the market the institutional side of the market. Now, I want you to take a wild guess. Which side of the market do you think typically walks away winning, and which side walks away bearing the consequences of an unfair advantage? Exactly. On some level, we all know that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. We all know that the Warren Buffetts and Jamie Dimons of the world are not playing the same game as the local advisor down the street recommending the safe mutual fund plays. The problem is, even though most middle-class investors know inherently that there's a difference between their investment plan and the Wall Street banker's tactical wealth accumulation strategy, they have no idea what that difference actually is. And even more importantly, they have no idea what to do to start playing the game the same way as the top 1% so that they can shift their earning power and start profiting just like the financial elite. Well, listen, if you've ever felt like there's got to be a better way to level the financial playing field, a way to practically start seeing bigger and better gains, a way to get that financial edge without having to bet the farm in the process and subject your capital to massive speculative risk, and if you've ever wanted to be able to enjoy the freedom that comes from having your money work for you, generating passive profits on a daily basis. And to be clear, we're not talking about inconsequential 5 or 10% annual gains that barely move the needle. I'm talking about being able to see high double-digit gains at scale, just like the investment banks that run the world of high finance. Then pay close attention, because I'm going to pull back the veil right now. I'm going to show you the key to joining the haves and separating yourself from the have-nots. And it all boils down to a very basic concept that I call wealth cycles. Every asset class on the planet, whether we're talking about stocks, commodities, futures, cryptocurrencies, you name it, is participating in its own unique wealth cycle. And here's what that looks like. Banks and institutional investors identify undervalued assets, and then they quietly begin accumulating it, knowing that as the asset begins to find its true value, they're going to make considerable gains. Once they begin taking positions in the asset, they begin to drive the price up, and this rise creates momentum in the market. Eventually, this previously undervalued asset starts to make the headlines of Fox Business and the Wall Street Journal, Mad Max. And then the retail side of the market catches wind of the excitement and starts to pile into the rising asset. Soon enough, the retail investors create a buying frenzy and continue to drive the price through the roof until the asset inevitably becomes overvalued, creating a bubble. But here's where it gets interesting. While the Jim Cramers of the world are yelling about the next hottest pick to millions of retail investors, the institutional side of the market has already made their profit. They were in long before mainstream media picked it up, based on the technical and fundamental indicators that showed where the asset was headed. So, as the retailers are piling into the asset late to the game, the institutional side of the market quietly begins to unload the asset at its peak by selling off their positions. They sell to the retail side of the market and wisely take their profits off the table. As they do this, the inevitable happens. The bubble bursts. Because most of the retail side consists of speculators, the bearish momentum creates a panic sell-off because everyone is rushing to cut their losses. This chain reaction compounds, and inevitably, the price of the asset falls through the floor until eventually something else very interesting happens. Eventually, the asset becomes extremely undervalued. And guess who's more than ready to step back in and repurchase the asset while it's on sale? That's right. The same banks and institutional investors that created the wealth cycle to begin with. And as they act as a floor for the falling asset, the process starts all over again. The end result? The institutional side of the market is able to stay in perpetual profit, buying at the low and selling at the high and repeating the cycle over and over again. Understanding what I call the wealth cycles in the market is the absolute key to record gains, unlimited upside potential, and mitigating your risk in the process. And while this concept is simple to understand, the problem is you're busy. Am I right? Who actually has the time to put your life on hold, sit down, and then put the years of study that it requires into the market to be able to accurately assess where the asset is in its wealth cycle? And for most Americans, trying to pull this level of sophistication and strategic analysis from their financial advisor is only going to end up getting them that glazed over look just before they're deterred from their big dreams back to reality and into a safe prepackaged mutual fund option. And so we live in a consistently widening gap of the rich and the poor, the haves and the have-nots. And unfortunately, I don't care what your political affiliation is, as inflation continues to soar, the baby boomers exit the workforce, and the economic power struggles continue to shift towards the east, that gap is only going to get wider and wider for middle-class Americans in the days to come. So the question is, what do you personally do with all of this information? If you don't have the time or the inclination to sit down and spend the next 5 to 10 years learning how to take advantage of the wealth cycles in the market, what are you supposed to do about it right now? Am I right? Well, what if I told you we've created a proprietary solution based in artificial intelligence that solves this 7-figure equation? What if there was a way that you could invest right alongside the top 1%, the financial elite, the institutional side of the market, and do it on total autopilot? What if there was a hands-free solution that was able to identify the buying habits of the institutions, hedge funds, investment banks, the real market makers, so that you could step on the other side of the fence where the grass is actually greener? And what if, without any human intervention, a robotic, artificially intelligent algorithm could automatically allow you to buy when they buy, sell when they sell, and take profit when they take profit, leaving you with a fully scalable and totally passive income stream that could be leveraged to generate 5 figures per month or more? Well, listen, that's exactly what the Axiom V.P.F.X.S system does. We spent hundreds of thousands of dollars putting together the very best data scientists, software engineers, professional traders and market analysts, computer programmers, and a proprietary neural network, all to create a bulletproof and totally automated investment solution that actually works. Similar to how the leading hedge funds and trading firms leverage trading algorithms to generate billions of dollars in revenue each year, we've created a solution that uses machine learning to identify the most lucrative investment opportunities based on the wealth cycles and then profits from them perpetually. If you're anything like most small businesses, you're wearing all the hats. You are the marketing department, the sales department, customer support, client management, the accounting department, and human resources all in one. You've got your hands full servicing your clients, and you do well because you do an excellent job delivering your product or service to the market. You've got cash because your business is successful, so that's really not your issue. The problem is you don't have the time to stop what you're doing, the very thing that's paying the bills, and try to learn a new, expensive, and extremely time-consuming skill. You need a plug and play solution that doesn't require the most expensive thing you've got, your attention. So here's what I want you to imagine. Just imagine for a moment that you're running your business, taking care of your family, doing your best to have some semblance of a social life, and in the midst of your hectic schedule, being able to open up your phone to see profits like these being generated on a daily basis. Look, that's the power of the V.P.F.X.S solution I'm offering you here. A system that has no downtime, doesn't take any breaks, and needs no manual supervision. The artificial intelligence within the system is able to independently decide on which instruments to profit from, how much profit to target, and maintain a minimal risk profile of just 1 to 2% of your total capital. That means that with 50K in the market, you're never exposing more than $500 to $1,000 to be invested at any time, which leads us to the million-dollar question. How much can you make with a V.P.F.X.S system? Well, rather than make any vague projections, let me tell you what our clients are already doing. And if you want a more detailed assessment of what our technology can do for you personally, I'm going to explain how we can make that happen for you in just a moment. But before we go there, take a look at my client, David, who's now up over 39.28%. He works in the insurance world, but was looking for a way to increase his passive income and get a better yield on his capital. As you can see, at his current trajectory, his annual run rate is well over 50% per year, and we're not even considering the annual compounding growth. We've got a similar story in Suleiman here. He's an Ivy League graduate, heads the Chamber of Commerce, was awarded one of the most influential entrepreneurs in the city of Philadelphia, and maintains a 7-figure investment portfolio. After getting a chance to understand the metrics of our V.P.F.X.S system, he allocated a portion of his capital into our system, and as you can see, he's up over 68.94% in just under a year. Greg here is a serial entrepreneur. He's built multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses. He's been featured in mainstream publications like Entrepreneur Magazine, Digital Trends, The Blaze, and even Sports Illustrated. When I consulted with Greg about our V.P.F.X.S solution, he was already doing very well with his active income being generated from his companies. But what he was missing was a strong but truly passive income source that he could use to compound the money that he was already making. After taking a look at our track record, Greg decided to jump in with us. And as you can see, he's up over 75.96%. The reality is, we've got clients leveraging our technology to make over $500 in profit in a day. Some are generating more than $1,000 in passive income in a single day, and some are doing over $10,000 per month. Again, that's purely passively. No becoming a financial guru, no studying market projections, no investing a decade to understand the wealth cycles. Typically, our clients are able to start generating profits within 30 days of getting started with us and are able to minimally achieve a 50% annual ROI. Now, I'm legally obligated to tell you that past performance is not a guarantee of future results, but this is what we're seeing across the board. And they're able to accomplish all of this without having to give up control of their capital. Every single one of our clients is able to leverage our technology in their own accounts, set up and established in their own names that only they have access to. Only they can add funds to the account, and only they can remove funds from it, which means they stay in complete control of their capital at all times. They're also doing these numbers without having to immerse their capital in massive risk. Because our technology leverages the wealth cycles to find precise entry points into the market, it means that our clients are always getting into opportunities at the perfect timing. Coupled with a proprietary and autonomous risk management strategy, the V.P.F.X.S system is able to limit the risk profile down to as little as 1 to 2% of the account. Again, this means on a 100K account, the total exposure would be limited to only $1,000 or $2,000. And perhaps most important, all of our clients are getting these kind of results without having any time investment. Most of the time, when you have someone struggling financially, their biggest concern is money. But as with most of my clients, once you've got the financial picture where you want it, you realize that the most precious asset we all have is our time. One of my clients jokingly calls the V.P.F.X.S system a time machine because it's able to buy back the one thing they're not making any more of, our time. The fact is, our clients absolutely love us, all for one reason and just one reason alone, because our technology works. The bottom line is the reason we're the market leader in our space, the reason we've got case study after case study, and the reason why I can so boldly say to you that I believe you're looking at the greatest investment opportunity of your lifetime is very simply because what we do works. And our track record proves it. Plain and simple. When you've got the results, there's no need for a song and dance. Just take a look below this video and you'll see the proof. And if you want to see even more proof than that, we can arrange it. Our numbers are tracked and audited by a third-party analytics company. This company monitors every single detail on the performance of our technology down to the penny in real time. We can afford to operate with this kind of unbridled transparency because A, we like to give our clients that level of confidence in their decision-making to do business with us, and B, because we truly believe that documentation beats conversation 100% of the time. Which leads us to the only remaining question we've yet to answer. How much does the Axiom V.P.F.X.S system cost? Well, fortunately, I can tell you that it's not going to run you the millions and millions of dollars that the large multinational banks are investing to benefit and run the exact same type of technology. You've got to understand, major banks like Wells Fargo here are investing millions of dollars into this kind of technology and paying traders almost $250,000 a year just to manage it for them. Let me break this down for you. And you can swap Wells Fargo out for whoever you bank with. The point is, you plop your 50K into a CD to get some kind of yield over the next 12 months, and the bank's newest trader pulls them a $30,000 profit on your money while they turn around and cut you a check for $5 at the current interest rates. Your 50K yields you $5. Now that sounds like a pretty good deal, huh? Again, are you starting to see why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer? Is it starting to make sense why the biggest buildings in every city, in every country on the planet belong to the banks? Maybe that's why Henry Ford said, "It is well enough that people of the nation do not understand the banking and monetary system. For if they did, I believe there would be revolution before tomorrow morning." So how much does a V.P.F.X.S system cost? Well, to be a stickler with words, it's costing you an absolute fortune to not have a V.P.F.X.S system working for you. I mean, think about it. Every single month that you could be making 5 figures per month passively, and you're not, it's costing you about 5 figures per month. I may have to check my numbers on that, but when you start to compound that 5-figure monthly income on an annual basis and really tally that up, yeah, I think it's fair to say that the true cost of not owning this system is astronomical. But let's go ahead and take a deep dive into the numbers so I can show you the absolute proof that this is the best investment opportunity of your lifetime. So what you're looking at here is a compound interest growth chart from investor.gov. Now, I know everyone's numbers are different. You may have 100K to invest right now, or you may have 4 or 5 million. The great part about our system is that it works at scale. So it doesn't really matter where you're starting right now. The key is to understand the growth metrics. So in the first example, we're going to use a hypothetical starting position of $250,000. And we're going to look at a 10% yield over the next 10 years. Now, if you're solely vested in the equities markets and diversified across index and mutual funds, I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be next to impossible for you to hit those numbers given the trajectory of the US market in the global marketplace. In fact, we've got an entire report detailing that very fact. But let's just assume myself and most financial analysts are wrong. Let's assume the US economy continues to boom for another decade, earning you an annualized return of 10% per year. Well, if you're starting out at 250,000 and that's compounded at 10% a year for 10 years, at the end of a decade, you'd be sitting on just shy of $650,000, $648,435.62 to be exact. Quite obviously, most would agree you've walked away a winner with those numbers, right? However, one aspect most investors don't consider are the fees that they're having to pay along the way. In essentially every retirement plan on the market, you're paying some kind of management or custodial fee to whoever's handling the administration of your 401k. On average, most providers charge a fee ranging from 0.5% on the low end to as much as 2% on the high end. Now, sure, on a quarterly statement, those fees are barely noticeable. But at the end of a decade, those numbers start to add up. Let's assume you personally are on the low end of the spectrum and you're just paying a 1% fee to your provider. Well, staying with our $250,000 example, while at the end of the decade, you've accumulated just shy of $650,000 gross, you've also now paid out $46,323 in fees over that time period, knocking your net portfolio down to closer to $600,000, which is a considerable difference. And that's just on a $250,000 portfolio. If you've got an even larger nest egg, the fees could be even more excessive than that. But the point is, you're looking at a pretty significant outlay of cash over time. The question I want to ask you is, what if you could simply redirect that outlay of cash that you're already slated to pay in fees to instead create a 500% gain in your annual earning power? Well, let me show you how our clients are doing just that. Now, the investment, and I use that word intentionally, in the V.P.F.X.S system retails at a one-time all-in fee of just $35K. And I'm going to explain in a moment the incredible pricing deal we've arranged for you because you're watching this video right now. So make sure you watch until the end. But for right now, let's just work off the retail investment of $35K for V.P.F.X.S system. Well, right off the bat, you're saving over $10K off that $46,000 that you'd be paying in administrative fees. That's impressive. But still, you might be saying $35K is an awful lot of money. And I tend to agree with you. $35K is an awful lot of money for an expense, for a liability, for something that depreciates. Yeah, I'd say you're absolutely right. $35K is a lot of money for that. But I personally think $35K for a V.P.F.X.S system is a steal. And here's why. If you could make a one-time investment of just $35K that paid you $1 million per year residually, wouldn't that be a no-brainer? Let's forget for a moment any skepticism and just look strictly at the math. If it were possible to invest $35K one time and then turn around and earn $1 million in passive income every single year because of that small one-time investment, wouldn't that be worth $35K? In fact, wouldn't that reasonably be worth $100K? You could very easily make the argument that it'd be worth $1 million one time if it netted you the ability to earn $1 million per year, right? But let's take a look at some real numbers here so you can see why a $35K price point for a V.P.F.X.S system is an absolute bargain. So let's remember in our previous example, you invested $250K at an annual growth rate of 10% per year for a decade. And at the end of that decade, you had a gross net of about $650K. But also remember, you paid roughly $46,000 in fees over that decade, which brought your net gains down closer to $600,000. So now let's take a look at the numbers here with Axiom. Let's assume you were to reposition that $46,000 in fees you're slated to pay and instead use that capital to invest in a V.P.F.X.S system. At our retail investment of $35K, again, you've saved over $10K immediately from the $46,000 in fees, right? But here's what makes the $35K investment in our system so worth it. Here's why this whole opportunity is not only a steal, but why I dare say the greatest investment opportunity of your lifetime. Take a look. If you were to invest that same $250K and leverage it utilizing the proprietary technology in the V.P.F.X.S system, you'd be comfortably targeting a 50% annual yield, which, as you know, is our standard. And what that means is you now have the ability to compound at 50% per year. And with that ability, you're literally able to achieve a 500% better yield than a top performing 401k portfolio. But let's look at how those numbers actually translate. Over the same 10-year period, your $250K has now amassed into a $14 million fortune. Same starting point, roughly the same expense in fees versus investment in our technology, but exponentially different endings. Now, $14 million might be a scary number for you, but that's one of the main reasons we utilize the foreign exchange market with our technology. The currency market is the largest capital market on the planet. It's 60 times bigger than the stock market, and it trades over $5 trillion per day. That's 5 trillion with a T. And the reason that's significant is because it simply means that the market can easily bear your $14 million nest egg. And quite frankly, it's just a small blip in a massive, massive pond, the biggest pond on the planet, in fact. But look, maybe 14 million from a $35,000 investment is just too big of a leap for you to wrap your mind around. I get it. So here's another question for you. What if after 5 or 6 years, you were sitting on $2 million liquid and then decided to start taking your profits as income? At 50% a year, that'd be $1 million a year in passive recurring income in just 5 years. In the traditional scenario, even with the exponential growth of 10% a year, you were looking at a nest egg of only 600K. Here with Axiom, we're talking about a 7-figure passive income without touching the nest egg. We're talking about your money making money for you and living off the cash flow from your investments. We're talking about the blueprint to a high net worth. Again, same starting point, but actually more expensive to build the 600K portfolio than it is to build the $2 million one with a 7-figure cash flow in half the time. Are you starting to see why I said the retail value of 35K for the V.P.F.X.S system is a steal, a bargain? Now, I want to run through one more set of numbers here just so we can make sure we're covering all the bases, because I understand a 250K starting point might not be realistic for everyone. Maybe you don't have that much, or that's more than you're comfortable allocating towards an opportunity like this. So the question is, what do the numbers look like on a much smaller starting position? And at a 35K price point for the V.P.F.X.S system, would the investment still make sense for you? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the actual numbers. Let's suppose that based on your portfolio allotments, you only wanted to start with 50K. Maybe you're just using the V.P.F.X.S system as a diversification strategy and to gain some consistent passive income. Now, really follow me here. At the end of a decade, your little 50K investment has still snowballed into more than $2.8 million with an annual earning potential of over $1.4 million in passive income. What that means is, even at 50K, you're still crushing the guy who invested 250K into a quote unquote high performing mutual fund. So does the investment of 35K for a V.P.F.X.S system still make sense if you're only putting in 50K? Well, my answer would be that depends. Are you after a get-rich-quick scheme with some type of lottery ticket mentality? If so, then no, this is probably not going to be a good fit for you, regardless of the investment cost. However, if you're the type of investor who's playing the long game and you're looking to not only secure your financial future, but your children's financial future and their children's too, then you're going to be hard-pressed to find another opportunity that can present you with these kind of numbers. And let's keep in mind the number one rule of investing here. It's not return on investment that matters so much as return of investment. Leveraging the V.P.F.X.S system, you never lose control of your money. Your capital stays in your account that only you've got access to. You maintain total transparency from day one and mitigate your risk to 1 to 2% exposure. Now, there may be greater investment opportunities out there, but the fact is, I personally just haven't seen it. So the bottom line is, no matter how you crunch the numbers, it's always a great investment to buy a virtual printing press that compounds your capital. And whether that investment is 100K or 35K, any amount you pay for it is a steal. But here's the deal. The mission of my company is truly about financial empowerment. The reality is the top 1% are already paying millions of dollars for similar technology, and we could easily slap a 6-figure price tag on the V.P.F.X.S system, and the top 1% would gladly pay it in a heartbeat. But our aim at Axiom isn't about making the rich richer. Our mission is about leveling the financial playing field for the small business owner and the independent investor who's priced out of the real money game. So if that's you, our mission is to put you in a position to compete at the highest levels of finance without needing the 6 or 7-figure upfront investment that would typically be necessary to acquire this kind of technology. And so, to make the investment option even more of a no-brainer for you and to even further embody our mission, because you're here right now watching this invite-only presentation, we're going to knock an additional 10K off the investment for the V.P.F.X.S system. So right now, you can get access to the truly groundbreaking proprietary Axiom V.P.F.X.S system for a one-time investment of just 25K. And if necessary, we'll even work with you on a couple different payment options. Now, listen, I'm not delusional here. I understand that 25K is a significant amount of capital, no matter what your portfolio looks like. But one of the philosophies I'm so thankful I learned early in business is never step over dollars to pick up pennies. When you take an objective look at buying a system that can afford you these kind of returns, creating a daily passive income of $1,100 plus, giving you the competitive edge to dominate the markets from day one, a system that empowers you to begin leveraging your capital like the financial elite. Yes, producing daily profits, but also keeping you fully liquid in the process, that continues to profit from the wealth cycles, creating sustainable growth regardless of market conditions, and gives you the ability to compound your capital into a seven-figure position while simultaneously you create a 6 or even 7-figure passive income in the process. Objectively speaking, wouldn't you agree that passing on the opportunity based on the small cost of the investment would be the very definition of stepping over dollars to pick up pennies? I mean, honestly, if all this system did was allow you to truly replace your full-time income with a totally automated passive income so that you could truly have the freedom to work or retire as you see fit and still be able to enjoy your current lifestyle with real peace of mind, wouldn't that alone be worth an investment of 25K just one time? If you could honestly say goodbye to money worries in this life because you knew you'd put a recession-proof wall of financial protection around you and your family that nothing could penetrate, wouldn't that be worth a small 25K commitment? Did you know that statistically, the average American touches $1.7 million during their lifetime? However, the mass majority of people end up dependent on their friends, family, and the federal government to sustain them during their retirement. Look, if you're here right now, chances are you've got income streams and capital available. The money game is about leveraging that capital to actually work for you, to deploy it into investment structures that grow at a high rate of return and ultimately allow you to live from the income your money is producing. I challenge you to find a better 25K investment with this kind of proven track record that can afford you not only the growth, but accompanies that growth with a predictable passive income stream. If you've been even moderately looking, then you already know it's simply not out there. So listen, I want to extend an invitation to you to work with us here at Axiom, but I've got to warn you, we've only got an extremely limited number of licenses to our V.P.F.X.S system available at any given time. Based on the heavy workload on our end, it takes a tremendous amount of resources to successfully set up our clients with their own V.P.F.X.S system. And for that reason, we only work with 5 new clients at a time. At the time of this video, we've got 2 remaining positions available at this specially discounted pricing. But once these positions are filled, this video will be pulled from the internet and the typical wait time is 3 months. So if you're sincerely interested in setting up a V.P.F.X.S system for yourself and your family, I cannot say it strongly enough. Do not wait. As you've already seen, every day that you're waiting, the compound effect is costing you a fortune. Look, I started this video by saying I was going to show you how you could make this year your breakthrough year in the world of investing and asset accumulation to the tune of making 5 figures per month in totally passive automated income. And I've done my best to show you exactly how that's not only possible, but how we're doing it. Now, I'm not expecting you to whip out a credit card and plop down the investment based on what you saw here today. I understand that you may be 90% of the way, but you just need to get some questions answered before you pull the trigger. And that's totally understandable. So I want to give you the opportunity to jump on a quick call with me personally or a member of my team to get your questions answered. You may have some technical questions that were beyond the scope of what we could cover here today, but I do want to emphasize one thing. The reality is, there's no need to overcomplicate this decision. This opportunity really boils down to some basic 5th grade math. We have no problem showing you our track record, explaining our technology in greater detail, providing you with case studies and everything you need to make an educated decision for you and your family. However, at the end of the day, the math is pretty simple. Would you invest 25K to make a passive 7-figure income? I'll make this an open book test for you. The answer should be yes. But again, I do understand if you've got some questions you need to get answered before you make that decision. And that's what we're here to support you with. So if you're absolutely serious about getting those questions answered so that you can lock arms with us here at Axiom and become one of our newest success stories, or if you don't even really have any questions and just want to get started generating some passive income right now, here's what to do next. Below this video, you'll find a button to schedule a call with myself or a member of my team. Go ahead and click that button now to request the call back. This call is totally risk-free, and I promise you, this isn't some boiler room, high-pressure sales deal. If you can afford our system, the math is a no-brainer. And if you can't, there's really no point in trying to pressure you into making a decision that you simply can't make. So you've got nothing to lose. Just be sure to complete the short form that follows so that my team and I can begin preparing resources for you before we even start the call. It's high priority for us that this call is high impact for you. Go ahead, click the button below this video and schedule your totally risk-free consultation right now. I want to thank you for the time you've invested here today, and I want to leave you with a quote that has always impacted me. On the plains of hesitation lie countless bleached bones of those who at the threshold of victory decided to wait, and in waiting, they died. Look, I know it might seem a little random to request a callback, but once you do, what you're going to find is that you've stumbled across what I truly believe is the greatest investment opportunity for the average person in America today. Our track record is exemplary. Our technology is proven and proprietary, and our team is dedicated to your success. Once you jump on board with us, we lock arms with you to create the kind of income and lifestyle you've always imagined was possible, but just perhaps didn't know how to get there. Click the button below this video and find out why Axiom Strategic Capital is the market leader in creating financial independence for small business owners and independent investors. The reality is, if you're still here right now, it's because you're looking for something. The good news is you found it. Just take the next step and schedule the risk-free consultation now. Because one thing I can promise you is this: the deeper you dig with us, the more exciting it gets. Right now, you literally have nothing to lose. Click the button below this video, and I'll talk to you soon. With that, take care, take charge, and take action.